Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to bonus weather video number 1 for this week, one day after the holiday, and so we'll get back on the beam with number 2 tomorrow and number 3 on Friday. But there were a couple of suggestions I got from subscribers. One was just every once in a while to sort of do some reflecting or maybe express some opinions about weather-related issues. And the other one was about warning fatigue, specifically about what this person described as weather alert days. That why are there so many of those, and are we desensitizing the public to serious weather occurrences? When everything's serious, then how do you know the difference? So I just thought I'd tackle a couple of ideas that I have about this, and there's no guarantee that my opinion is the right one. It is they are opinions that I hold very strongly. And I have no problem sharing them with people. When you get to be my age, there's not much risk in doing that anymore. But I will share it with you, and you're welcome to agree, disagree, or be neutral, or whatever. All right, so first of all, let's address this issue of weather alert days. I do think there are way too many of them. It's gotten to the point now where seemingly if you have one cumulus cloud coming up over the horizon, then it is a weather alert day. And it's really gotten to the point where it's fairly ridiculous. And it's hard now, I think, for the general public to tell the difference between a day when they should genuinely be concerned about the weather and a day where they're just going to say, oh yeah, it's another one of those, and the problem with that is that when you get to a serious weather situation and you say, oh, it's just another one of those, then potentially you're not going to be prepared for something that is potentially very serious. So I do have a major problem with that. Like for instance, in the summertime, ever since the human civilization existed, and probably long before that, this particular chunk of real estate in North America, which we now call North Carolina, has had afternoon and evening thunderstorms in the summertime. Are they dangerous? They can be. For instance, lightning is the number one, killer, surpassing even fatalities from tornadoes and that type of thing. And so it is the type of thing where if you are close enough to a thunderstorm to hear thunder, you are close enough to get hit. But how many of us, like I've been on a golf course before and I'll say, that sounds like it's pretty far away. I don't think I have too much to worry about there. Well, 99% of the time, maybe even more than that, you can get away with that kind of thinking. But if that 0.1% occurs or whatever, then you may not survive and have an opportunity to explain yourself after that. But is this a unique event in North Carolina during the summer? Heck no, okay? Everybody should know that when there's an electrical storm that you probably don't want to be out in it, especially if you're in a wide open area and you're the only thing standing there, okay? But we don't need weather alert days every time there is a thunderstorm passing over somewhere in central or eastern North Carolina. The public gets it, okay? They know what that risk is, and if they choose to ignore that risk, that's on them, okay? There does reach a point where we all have to accept personal responsibility for our decisions, okay? No TV station, radio station, or social media outlet can protect you from everything. You have to protect yourself. You have to use common sense. You have to know enough to be able to protect yourself and to make those proper decisions. So there's really no need in my mind for any media outlet to babysit the public. They know what to do, okay, for the most part. All right. Now, these weather alert days and things like them, and by the way, I'm not singling anybody out. This type of thing is running rampant all across the country with radio and TV stations, okay? So this is not an attack on any one given station. I'm sure you all know which one that you're referring to, but again, it's something that is industry-wide. So these weather alert days are designed for the sole purpose of getting attention. Okay? It's not to necessarily serve the public. Now, on the days when there's a genuine threat, like flash flooding or tornadoes or something like that, yeah, that's a real public service, no question about it. But all the other days when we're making a mountain out of a molehill, then I don't think it does serve a purpose. But again, This is for the purposes of getting eyeballs and getting attention. And guess who's behind most of this? It is television station consultants. These are companies that have sprung up all across the United States, and television stations pay them an ungodly amount of money to do research and have focus groups and all this type of thing. And then they come back and they tell the TV station, this is what you should do in order to get the maximum audience and the maximum bang for your buck. I have always felt, and during the 37 plus years I was at WRAL, I felt like we had the answers within the four walls of that company, okay? There were an awful lot of smart people that worked at that TV station, and they could have come up with probably better solutions and better ideas for the same amount of money they're paying them with their salary or their hourly wage or whatever. They didn't have to go out and spend all this money on these consultants. I do not brag on myself very often, but I will tell you this. One of the things I am most proud of in the 37 plus years I was at WRAL is that I ignored 95% of what the consultants told me to do, and it worked. And you know why it worked? Because I gave you, the audience, credit for being intelligent enough to make your own decisions and to employ common sense, okay? There were two things that they told me to do which were utterly ridiculous in my mind. The first one occurred very early in my career when they said, nobody wants to be educated about the weather, okay? They just want to know if it's going to rain or not. Well, I can't tell you the number of people that came up to me over the years and say the reason we watch is that you teach. We actually learn about why things happen, what the uncertainties are, what the various possibilities are. You know, not everybody wants that. I'm not stupid enough to think that, you know, that my approach was good for everybody. I know that's not true. But an awful lot of you did want to learn more about the weather and why things happened the way they did and what the various possibilities were. Okay, so we blew that one out of the water. And then the other one, they said, never talk about what you're not sure of. Okay, so that means I'm supposed to pretend to be confident when I'm not, right? Well, that's a lie, okay? And I think you can see right through that, all right? And again, I had people over the years coming up to me and saying, Greg, we appreciate your honesty when you look right into the camera and you say, you know, I honestly don't know how this is going to play out. Here are the 2 or 3 most viable options, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that I knew for sure which one of those 2 or 3 options was going to take place. You seem to appreciate that honesty, okay? And so those 2 issues, one early in my career and one late in my career, I just, you know, I listened politely and I said, okay, nice talking to you, you know, have a safe trip home. And that's about it. And then I simply ignored it. And again, I think you and I proved together that that was the right approach, okay? And this is not just TV stations. This is clickbait is all over the internet. Just yesterday, I saw one of the most heavily followed weather video producers on the internet have a headline about Hurricane Gabrielle, which is the next name that we're going to use for the next tropical cyclone, okay? Now, Gabrielle could very well form over the next several days and could very well become a hurricane down the road. But in your headline, you're going to have Hurricane Gabrielle there when the darn thing hasn't even been labeled a depression yet? Really? Okay. Now, the thing about it is, a lot of these people that use these clickbait headlines to get attention, if you can sift your way through that and actually watch the content, you know, the main content of the video, some of it is really actually very good stuff, okay? But I guess my question is, if you're that good, and a lot of them are, why do you have to blow it out of proportion to get people to watch you? Your performance should stand on its own merit. People are going to watch you, they're going to learn over time that you're credible, that you're giving out good information, and that should be enough, okay? You shouldn't have to blow stuff up and make stuff up in order to get people to watch you, okay? So that is pretty much my sermon on this, and to be honest with you, I don't think there's any way that we can reverse this. I think the cat is out of the bag, and trying to put it back into the bag is going to be extremely difficult. The only thing that those of us that don't adopt this approach to meteorology and the dissemination of information, the only thing we can do is simply keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully there are enough people out there that appreciate that approach and will continue to watch or subscribe or whatever it happens to be. But trying to eliminate this type of thing simply goes against all of the models that the salespeople use. Forget the meteorology part, just sales in general, is that you want to do something to get somebody's attention, okay? And it works. There are a lot of people out there that have way more followers than I do, okay? So I can't argue with the success of that approach. I just don't agree with it. I don't think it's terribly honest, and I don't think it's terribly ethical. But that's just me, okay? All right, so that way I shared an opinion with you. I addressed the issue of weather alert days. Hopefully all that made sense, and if it doesn't, there'll be another bonus video tomorrow that hopefully will. All right, that's it for now, folks. You all take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.